Chapter 31 The physical disaster is coming. But it's nourishment. You are listening at novelfull.audio. But you said the system was supposed to hunt 3,000 great DAOs. Why are there so few listed now? And why aren't the top-tier DAOs, time, space, and the legendary cause and effect, showing up on the system panel yet, Master, because of Xiaotong's, shall we say, unauthorized upgrade? The 3,000 Great Dao hunting template is only just opening up. Xiaotong is still working on cracking and upgrading. Right now, Master will have to bear with it for a little while, seeing the system struggling so hard with the upgrade. Calm Wudao didn't push it. After all, top-tier DAOs like time and space are incredibly complex, hunting them down completely wouldn't happen overnight. In that case, he thought, let's allocate these destiny points wisely for now. Calm Wudao sat down cross-legged again, ready to start enhancing his physique using destiny points. Suddenly, dense, ancient runes appeared around him. They seemed to contain the ultimate principles of heaven and earth, and the ethereal Sanskrit sounds of the great Tao filled the air. Ding! Master's void chaotic body progress has improved. Current progress, 5,000/99999. Ding! Master's origin time and space divine pupil process has improved. Current progress, 5,000/99999. As Kong Wudao continued to improve his physical constitution, outside the temple of time and space, the sky darkened again, thick dark clouds covering thousands of miles, like a terrifying vortex. The clouds enveloped the time and space restricted area and half the star field. That's the direction of the temple of time and space. Why is there such a terrifying phenomenon again? Could it be that the Wu Dao God Sun has awakened some new power? No. The dark clouds seem filled with tribulation thunder. Looks like a major calamity is brewing. The ancestors secretly protecting Calm Wudao also looked up into the depths of the storm. That looks like a physical tribulation thunder. Could Wu Dao have raised his physical constitution to a new level? Hold on. Something's off about this tribulation thunder. Seems like there's more than one kind. There are 4 types of physical tribulation thunder. That the ancestors who have been investigating looked shocked. Calm Wudao had only just awakened 2 physiques. Now, both newly awakened physiques have been raised to a higher level. Even the original 2 physiques had improved. And it seemed all 4 were being cultivated simultaneously, triggering this quadruple tribulation thunder. The ancestors acted fast, setting up an exclusive tribulation formation for Calm Wudao. These 4 types of tribulation thunder were extraordinary. They couldn't risk any interference. Inside the temple of time and space, Calm Wudao's aura stabilized, the 4 physiques advancing at the same time, for vast powers filled his body, then exploded outward like a dam bursting. The radiant pillars of energy shattered the magic circle restrictions in the temple of time and space, piercing the dome and shooting straight into the dark clouds. Rumble, star, the divine light collided with the thunder in the clouds, creating a roaring cacophony that shook the entire sky. In the horrified eyes of everyone in the time and space restricted area, a most dreamy vision unfolded. Purple Hongmeng energy rained down like the Milky Way, spreading across the heavens. The ascending laws of time and space reflected eternity, interpreting the great Tao. The chaotic light of nothingness filled the sky, radiating vast and eternal charm. The sun of gods and demons covered the sky, creating 2 worlds of black and white, incredibly mysterious. What kind of physical power could trigger such a miraculous event? Inside the temple of time and space, Calm Wudao slowly opened his eyes. For the first time, he felt the terrifying power of thunder gathering above. Physique tribulation thunder. Calm Wudao chuckled, stood, and walked out of the hall. The Wu Dao God Sun has come out. All eyes focused on Calm Wudao, feeling such a terrifying physical calamity. Countless young geniuses in the time and space restricted area were horrified, but, under their gaze, Calm Wudao, at the center of the apocalypse, looked indifferent. He wasn't afraid, he seemed almost expectant. Like he'd been bored for ages, and finally found a toy that actually seemed interesting. The sky-wide calamity thunder, angered by Calm Wudao's nonchalant attitude, became even more violent. Boom. Star. 9 mountain-sized thunderbolts shot out from the dark clouds, like divine light falling from the sky. Each bolt pulsed with taboo destruction. Feeling its aura, even the geniuses of the time and space restricted area felt their minds breaking, even many elders held their breath, frozen in place. Calm Wudao stood in the void, motionless. He let those terrifying bolts hit him. The power would tear even Holy Realm experts apart, but, when the thunder struck Calm Wudao, it was like 1,000 rivers flowing into the sea, vanishing without a trace. He wasn't hurt, his clothes weren't even dusty. The crowd stared, shocked and confused. They'd imagined countless ways their god's son could destroy the thunder. They hadn't expected he'd simply stand there, untouchable. The sheer power of it left everyone speechless. Rumbling, the four forces in Calm Wudao's body hummed together. He was devouring the Tianlei like a gourmet feast. The taboo power wasn't harming Calm Wudao, it was nourishing him. Chapter 32, One Gun Breaks the Physical Calamity Thunder. Invincible Appearance. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Calm Wudao's antics just seemed to egg the heavens on. Boom. Instantly, the thick vortex of tribulation clouds churning deep in the sky became a whirling, world-crushing maelstrom. Endless thunder and lightning roared and lashed out, thickening the already terrifying atmosphere. Even the saints and deacons within the time-space restricted zone felt a pang of fear. If that calamity struck, they weren't sure they could survive. This physical tribulation is off the charts. That kind of power, even a powerhouse in the Holy Realm would have trouble with that. One of the elders, looking worried, spoke, "Forbidden Lord, should we assist the Son of God?" "No need." Calm Wuji shook his head, his gaze fixed on Calm Wudao. "I have faith in Wudao's strength." As his father, Calm Wuji knew his son well. His talent and strength were a constant source of pride. Besides, when it came to his personality, Calm Wudao would never want, much less deign, to rely on someone else's power to overcome his own physical tribulation. Just then, an old voice chuckled, "Don't sweat it. This is my restricted time-space zone. He's just a god, he can't raise too much hell here." Hearing this, many of the time and space restricted zone elders exclaimed, "19th ancestor. You're awake too." And the 18th and 17th ancestors as well. The three ancestors simply smiled and nodded. Their eyes, filled with admiration and relief, were fixed on Calm Wudao above the temple of time and space. They had sensed Calm Wudao's aura the moment he was born and had awakened one after another, not to mention the series of incredible phenomena that followed. The terrifying aura he exuded had roused not only them, but also the 6 ancient ancestors and even the 3 distant ancestors, who had sent their spiritual thoughts and awakened their bodies of law hidden deep within the restricted time-space. Their ancient and distant ancestors had ascended to the immortal realm countless eons ago. Even a mere clone of law left in this world possessed only 1/millionth of the original strength. If their true forms were to descend, they could annihilate most of the world with a flick of their fingers. Of course, the time and space restricted zone had a background far deeper than that. For major primal constitutions, and all of them emerged during the Mythic Age. The 19th Patriarch gazed at the radiant figure in the sky and murmured, "Could it be that here in the time and space restricted zone, our ultimate plan, is finally about to be realized?" Meanwhile, the tribulation thunder, charged with overwhelming destructive force, erupted like a dam bursting. It coalesced into an aurora of thunder, resembling a war spear, and pierced through the void. At that instant it was as if the heavens had cast down a spear of judgment. The immense pressure swept through everything, causing the void itself to groan in agony. Thunder shaped like a divine spear, Spear Dao. While I haven't interacted with the Son of God much, I'm pretty sure this mere tribulation thunder won't be a problem. Calm Wudao smiled faintly and summoned the all-seeing divine weapon. The all-seeing divine weapon could manifest any weapon from all corners of the universe, transforming into any weapon with a mere thought. As Calm Wudao focused his mind, the all-seeing divine weapon in his hand pulsed with light, then slowly morphed into a silver divine spear. Just a physical tribulation thunder, one shot will be enough to shatter it. Calm Wudao grinned, hefted the divine spear, raised it above his head, leaned back, and mimicked a throwing motion. At the same time, endless runes from the great Tao of spears flowed from Calm Wudao's body. They swirled around the divine spear, intensifying its already brilliant glow. When the aurora of thunder was practically upon him, calm Wudao unleashed the divine spear in a flash. Boom! The space before him shattered layer by layer as ripples of law spread like a storm, creating a deafening blast. The silver divine spear instantly ripped through the void and surged upward against the terrifying thunder. Hum! The light erupting from the divine spear blazed like a sun-piercing rainbow, instantly tearing through huge swaths of thunder. The vast, Milky Way-like torrent of energy was split cleanly in two. Everyone watched, stunned. The destructive tribulation energy that threatened to engulf calm Wudao seemed to be struck by a devastating force. It instantly collapsed like an avalanche, turning into stardust across the sky. The sight was magnificent. Below, calm Wudao appeared to have timed it perfectly. His left hand was behind his back, and his right hand reached out. He caught the all-seeing divine weapon as it fell from the sky with perfect accuracy. Almost the moment the all-seeing divine weapon landed in his hand, the world shifted. Rip. At the heart of the dark clouds that blotted out the sun, a tiny spark of divine light flickered, as if billions of stars were detonating at once. Then, with a thunderous roar, the overwhelming tribulation clouds were torn apart from the middle by an unimaginable force. Ripples of law expanded from the shattered hole, sweeping out in every direction. Wherever the ripples touched, the monstrous dark clouds crumbled like snow exposed to the sun. It was like a celestial being parting the clouds to reveal the bright moon, uncovering the starry sky that had been hidden. Beneath the starry sky stood that pristine white figure, left hand behind his back, divine spear clutched in his right, dressed in white, with his black hair dancing in the wind. He looked as otherworldly as a deity. That instant, the time and space restricted zone fell into a stunned silence, as if space itself had solidified and the laws were frozen. All eyes were locked on that imposing figure. The trance held for an unknown duration. Then, the frozen crowd erupted in an uproar, filled with cries of astonishment. Many of the geniuses from the time and space restricted zone were particularly ecstatic, jumping up and down with excitement. Even more excited than calm Wudao himself. He, the Son of God, shattered the physical tribulation clouds with a single strike. He withstood the tribulation thunder in the sky without a scratch, and then, with a single shot, destroyed the tribulation clouds in the sky. With such an invincible hero, who in the entire universe could compare? Ha! Even when beating up tribulation clouds, the Son of God remains invincible. The Son of God is unbeatable. The Son of God is so powerful, he's invincible, that these geniuses from the time and space restricted zone, the cream of the crop from across the world, each possessed their own pride, but today, they were completely awed by the unparalleled power of their Son of God. They had witnessed a miracle unfold before their very eyes. Calm Wudao's awe-inspiring feat was forever etched in their hearts, an image they could never forget. Chapter 33 Tell the World. The Son of God appears. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Many of the ancestors beamed, their eyes shining with pride. Well, Wudao's body's gone completely into taboo territory and awakened those original powers. Makes sense he's performing like this. Give him time, and Wudao's gonna leave this world in the dust. As the ancestors chatted, calm Wudao floated down and bowed respectfully to them and the elders. Greetings, ancestors and elders. After merging his powers, calm Wudao radiated an even stronger, more refined aura. Every move felt like it carried the weight of the universe itself. But he still came across as a true gentleman. Our boy Wudao's barely awake, and he's already rocking this insane physique, an elder said with a grin. It's something to see, that's for sure. Calm Wuji chuckled. Wudao, now that you've unlocked those powers and reached virtual god status, you're gonna need serious resources. Take these. Before calm Wudao could protest, calm Wuji pulled several pouches overflowing with divine energy from his robes and pressed them into his hands. Feeling the raw power radiating from the pouches, calm Wudao grimaced. He was already swimming in resources, thanks to his dad and the system. He couldn't even begin to use them all. But seeing the look in his father's eyes, he knew he couldn't refuse. Wudao, you've really come into your own, said the 19th ancestor. We've been talking, and we want to announce your arrival to the whole universe today. What do you say? Calm Wudao paused, understanding their thinking. Whatever the ancestors decide is fine with me. Announcing himself would save trouble down the line. Being too powerful could be boring, but even he could get annoyed when gnats tried to mess with him. Announcing his area would discourage short-sighted fools from causing problems. The three ancestors exchanged glances, ready to begin the ceremony. All right, one said, by the power vested in us by the ancient founders, we declare to all creation, the time-space zone's divine child has been born. The time-space zone officials echoed, Wu Dao is our divine child. The universe needs to know. Our world's been quiet too long. The birth of the divine child will shake things up, that the events of the day were too big, too conspicuous. Countless ancient powerhouses slept across the universe. They were bound to learn of the news. Hiding things would only give them an edge, potentially causing problems for Calm Wudao down the road. Better to announce his existence and put the universe on notice. This was a guarantee that Calm Wudao would be protected as he walked among the heavens. The 17th patriarch waved his hand, his voice ringing with power. Send the decree of time and space. Declare it to all creation, that the void erupted with shimmering particles of law, rising like a galactic river, casting countless chaotic lights. The entire time-space zone buzzed, and deep within the land, ancient forces began to awaken, runes of space and time shot into the sky, piercing the heavens. Countless stars glittered, bursting with light. The dark star field where the time-space zone resided churned with energy, and brilliant light rained down, creating a spectacular sight. The sudden display captured the attention of countless cultivators. That's the time-space zone, right? What's going on in there? Another revelation, that the powerful throughout the worlds whispered. The recent events at the time-space zone had left them on edge. Wait, that's not a revelation, that's the time-space decree. A powerful voice cried out, the star field shone, and a sleeping power began to stir. The star field shattered like glass. A decree crackled with power flew out, and light radiated as if a figure was being made. It was a giant standing in time, looking down over all life in all universes. It was a power so great that even the mightiest emperors would have to run. A booming voice shook the universe. Hear now, all realms. By order of the time-space zone. Our divine child, Calm Wudao, has returned. He will walk the heavens, paving the path to rule and fulfill his destiny. And if any old geezers out there try anything funny with our boy, we'll see you in the time-space zone, that the sound echoed, reaching the edges of existence. All who heard it trembled and stood still, many who had never heard the name of Calm Wudao were shocked, the divine child of the time-space zone. Calm Wudao. Who was he? How could he command such an announcement? And since when did the time-space zone have a divine child? Didn't they only have the 9 emperors? Chapter 34 The heavens and realms are thundering, and a new destined person has arrived. You are listening at novelfull.audio. But, for a split second, even he almost faltered. Out in the star fields where the time-space restricted zone held sway, a blinding light suddenly erupted. One by one, powerful figures from ancient times materialized, bowing towards the zone. Xiantian Cave sends its congratulations. The Son of God has returned. His power is unmatched, and he's destined to rule. The ancient prison sect celebrates the Son of God's return. His glory will last for eternity. From Fantasy Island, we hail the Son of God. Invincible, he will become the ultimate emperor. And on it went. The light show was insane, in perfect synchronicity. Everyone bowed low, hands clasped in respect, facing the time-space zone. These were all forces allied to the zone, each sending their leaders to offer heartfelt blessings. The scale of it all was mind-blowing. Across the cosmos, countless beings boomed out their praises, all directed at the restricted zone. A spectacle like this was practically unheard of. The time-space forbidden zone's Son of God. Calm Wudao, legend has it he was sealed away during the Age of Destruction. One ancient power, realizing who it was, muttered in disbelief, could he be the monster god's son from the old records? Is it possible that all those weird events happening in the zone lately are his doing? And he's already mastered the forbidden realm of the physical body? Another, who was out of the loop, barked orders, find out everything you can on this son of God. I want intel, and I want it now. But keep it quiet, got it? Don't let the time-space zone catch wind of it, that after all, no one wanted to openly mess with a power like that. Even investigating Kong Wudao had to be done on the down low, to avoid causing trouble. Meanwhile, inside the time-space zone, the top dogs couldn't have cared less about the cosmic reaction. All they wanted was to blast the news: Kong Wudao, their son of God, had arrived. Why hide it? Why be subtle? Kong Wudao was born to be a headliner, destined for greatness. And the time-space zone had the muscle to back it up, to create any advantage their son of God needed. This was their world, their playground, and they were running it their way. Over in the Baixian domain, within the Chaos Holy Land's territory, a figure in black robes, Yi Chen, face mostly hidden, stood clenching his fists, fury burning in his eyes as he stared toward the time-space zone. The time-space zone. Kong Wudao. That was the bastard who murdered his love, crushed his master, stole everything. Now he was buried in the dirt while that guy basked in glory. The urge to tear Kong Wudao limb from limb was almost unbearable, but soon, he'd join the Chaos Holy Land and make his comeback, repaying every humiliation tenfold. Swallowing his rage, Yi Chen fixed his gaze on the horizon. There, bathed in light, stood the Chaos Holy Land itself. Legend had it that its founder was a supreme chaos body, a rare gift in all the land. He reached the limit of the great emperor long ago, and his brother-in-law, Yun Xiao, was the most celebrated son of chaos in the Holy Land today. With Yun Xiao's help, I'll rise again. Kong Wudao, just you wait. Elsewhere, with the time-space zone's announcement echoing through the universe, countless ancient powers and rising stars alike now knew the name Kong Wudao. Suddenly, he was the talk of the cosmos. Everyone knew a force to be reckoned with had arrived in the time-space zone. Those crazy signs in the sky. Almost certainly his doing. The information hunt began immediately. Kong Wudao, however, remained unconcerned. All those so-called geniuses were just prey to him. Speaking of prey, he thought of Yi Chen and his lucky escape. A thought flickered, and Kong Wudao summoned the system panel, pinpointing Yi Chen's location. So he didn't go back to the Samsara sect. Took a detour to the Baixian domain, did he? Kong Wudao arched an eyebrow. And he's cozying up to the Chaos Holy Land. That piqued his interest. Yi Chen might be weak, but he wasn't dumb. Figuring Kong Wudao might send hunters to the Samsara sect, he cut ties and ran. Choosing the Chaos Holy Land meant he had a plan to use their power. Jiang Yu, what's the deal with this Chaos Holy Land? Spill. Kong Wudao asked Kong Jiangyue. Lord Son of God, the Chaos Holy Land rose to power in the Baixian domain after the Age of Destruction. For eras, their strength crushed countless other factions, making them the overlords of the Baixian domain. But after their founding emperor vanished, the Holy Land declined, falling to just another top-tier force. Recently, they've had a miracle child in the Baixian Holy Land. Word as he rang the legendary Chaos Bell 9 times, the Holy Land of Chaos's annual disciple recruitment ceremony. He has a pure chaos body and unmatched talent. The Holy Land skipped him right from entry-level to Holy Son, calling him the hope for their future. Still, he's got nothing on you, Son of God. You. Kong Wudao tuned out her fangirling. Based on what she'd said so far, he couldn't help but ponder. The Holy Son of Chaos. This guy's life story was practically a myth. Could he also be a player of destiny? Just as he was getting lost in thought, a guard dropped from the sky, kneeling before him. Lord Son of God, envoys from the Sun and Moon dynasty, the Samsara sect, and others have arrived, requesting an audience with you. To see me? Kong Wudao frowned. He was itching to head to the Chaos Holy Land, and didn't have time for visitors, but as he was about to refuse, the system chimed in, ding. A person of destiny has been detected nearby. Kong Wudao froze. Among those visitors, was someone destined for greatness? Guess he had to meet them. Hopefully, this new chosen one would be worth the trouble. Chapter 35, Bai Yueguang in the realm of reincarnation, can he control the Son of God? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Outside the restricted zone, a fleet of stunning ferry boats dotted the starry sky, the flags snapping in the stellar wind declared that these ships hailed from various powerful sections. A throng of distinguished figures aboard the ferry boats waited with bated breath, their eyes constantly flickered toward the exit of the restricted zone, as if anticipating someone's arrival. Among these envoys, two figures were particularly striking. Most of the envoys were men, however. These two sects sent female envoys, both young stars from their respective houses. One was Xuanhuan from the Sun and Moon Divine Dynasty. The other was Lin Miaoyan, the personal disciple of the Empress of Samsara from the Samsara Dao sect. Whoosh! Suddenly, the void shimmered with an intense glow, a magnificent, colossal azure dragon, its scales gleaming white, materialized from a spatial vortex. The dragon's terrifying aura washed over the envoys, making their expressions shift. Perched atop the massive dragon's head, Calm Wudao, clad in black-trimmed white robes, faced the wind. His very presence emanated a powerful, imposing aura, like the blazing sun, inspiring awe in all who beheld him. Many cultivators gasped, who else could ride the noble apocalypse azure dragon and exude such terrifying power but the legendary Son of God, Calm Wudao, from the restricted zone? The Nanling Nether clan bows before the Son of God, Wudao. That a powerful figure led the way, and countless others snapped out of their stupor and lowered their heads. Tai Xuanzong pays respects to the Son of God, Wu Dao. The Tianyu Holy Sect salutes the Son of God, Wu Dao. Xia Chuli of the Sun and Moon God Dynasty greets the Son of God, Wu Dao. That a chorus of reverent calls erupted. If this scene were widely known, it would send shockwaves across the heavens. Remember, these were envoys from the immortal sections. To many cultivators, these forces were inherently aloof, like gods dwelling above the clouds, yet, now, they stood respectful and humble before this young man. The sight was simply astounding. Calm Wudao simply nodded in acknowledgement. He was already scanning for the person the system had identified as destined. His gaze landed on Xia Chuli, name, Xia Chuli, identity, Destiny's heroine, eldest princess of the Sun and Moon Divine Dynasty, realm, 9th level of the Dao Palace realm, physique, Supreme Star Divine Body preview, skills, Sun and Moon Transformation Technique, Bible of Stars, Emperor Taihuang's Heaven-Shattering Technique, treasures, Taihuang Sword, Xianli Silk Armor, Heart-Protecting Holy Pearl, Destiny Points, 8,000, Potential Dao Fragments, Fragments of the Tao of Stars. Fragments of the Tao of Fire, Fragments of the Tao of Music. Calm Wudao raised an eyebrow. The Sun and Moon Divine Dynasty. If he remembered correctly, the Sun and Moon Divine Dynasty was practically next door to his restricted zone, wasn't it? He hadn't expected that the dynasty's eldest princess would be a figure of destiny, and with a considerable number of destiny points, no less. While she might be here on a diplomatic visit, it would be a shame to let so many destiny points go to waste. As if sensing Calm Wudao's gaze, Xia Chuli was about to speak when another voice cut in. I've long admired the name of the Son of God, Wu Dao. I was wondering if I might have the pleasure of accompanying the Son of God on his future travels. That the speaker was a statuesque woman with a breathtaking face. She wore a phoenix-embroidered dress and black stockings that accentuated her long, slender legs. Her already alluring figure became even more captivating. Immediately, she captured the attention of many cultivators. The male cultivators, in particular, couldn't help but gulp, their bodies growing warm. It's Lin Miaoyan, the saintess of the reincarnation Dao sect. And also the personal disciple of the Empress of Samsara. Rumor has it that she is the goddess in the hearts of countless men in the entire reincarnation realm. Descendants of countless top sects in the reincarnation realm are said to be her loyal followers. The holy son of the Beiming holy sect once emptied half of the sect's treasury just to court Lin Miaoyan and win her favor. And the eldest son of the Jincheng Merchant Alliance offered hundreds of millions of spirit stones just to win the goddess's favor, but he never even touched Lin Miaoyan's hand. Judging by her move, Lin Miaoyan is taking the initiative to get close to the Wudao god's son. Many cultivators whispered, their envy of Kong Wudao growing even stronger, yet, there was no trace of jealousy in their eyes. Their own talent and background were what they were. How could they possibly be jealous of him? Listening to the murmurs around her, Lin Miaoyan's lips curled into a secret smile of pride. She had absolute confidence in her beauty. Countless men had fallen under her spell, and she couldn't count how many were driven wild by her beauty. After all, she possessed not only unparalleled beauty but also a top-tier physique. What man wouldn't want her? So what if the other party was the son of God from the restricted zone? He was still just a man, wasn't he? Haha. My master was right. She told me to establish a strong relationship with Kong Wudao at all costs, but not to try anything too obvious. Lin Miaoyan thought smugly, but still, this innocent gaze keeps falling on me. Manipulating these men is as easy as breathing. Long ago, her master, the Empress of Samsara, had told her, Kong Wudao's true strength and talent were far beyond what the world could imagine. In the future, he would undoubtedly reach the pinnacle and surpass the 9 heavens and 10 earths. She had to make a good impression on Kong Wudao. Although she had agreed in front of her master. After seeing Kong Wudao, she couldn't resist the urge to test him. After all, there was no man that she, Lin Miaoyan, couldn't win over. So what if he was the son of God from the restricted zone? He was still just a man, wasn't he? She'd show him how it was done. Chapter 36. Is this the kind of thing? Are you also qualified to be favored by this Son of God? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Even though Kong Wudao's eyes landed on Lin Miaoyan, he wasn't actually interested in the body she was so proud of. He was checking her stats instead. Name, Lin Miaoyan. Identity, disciple of the Destiny's Chosen One, saintess of the Reincarnation Tao sect. Cultivation level, 8th level of the Tao Palace realm. Physique, Yin-Yang reincarnation body, beginner. Destiny points, 2000. Possible avenue fragments, reincarnation avenue fragment, whip avenue fragment, etc. Not the Destiny's Chosen One, but a disciple of her. So, she's a saintess from the Reincarnation Tao sect, which means her master is the Reincarnation Empress. Kong Wudao mused. This was more interesting than he thought. He hadn't expected her to have any destiny points, let alone a decent amount. Seeing Kong Wudao still looking at her, Lin Miaoyan smirked, confident that she had him hooked. He had to be attracted to her beauty, even obsessed. This made Lin Miaoyan swell with pride. So what if he's some hotshot from a restricted zone? She thought. He'll still fall at my feet. Then, to the shock of the surrounding cultivators, Lin Miaoyan glided forward and took the initiative to approach Kong Wudao. Son of God, Wudao, she purred, deliberately deepening her voice, I possess the Yin-Yang reincarnation body, and I believe my talent is quite exceptional. Please, accept me as your servant. I can do anything, laundry, cleaning, anything you desire. The implication was clear. The Yin-Yang reincarnation body was a top-tier vessel for cultivation. Cultivating together offered endless benefits. This was one of Lin Miaoyan's trump cards. Unparalleled beauty combined with a god-tier physique. No man could resist. Sure, she hated being touched, but Kong Wudao had status, talent, and her master's approval. A little sacrifice was worth it. Whoa! The cultivators present gaped, eyes bugging out. Was this really the goddess of their dreams, the unattainable beauty from the reincarnation realm? She was practically throwing herself at Kong Wudao. The contrast was insane. A person with his looks, talent, and background really could have it all. That vixen. Xia Chuli, representing the Sun and Moon Divine Dynasty, looked displeased. She had hoped to forge a connection with the time and space restricted area through Kong Wudao. Lin Miaoyan might have had ulterior motives, but offering herself up so readily made Xia Chuli's carefully planned gift seem insincere. Kong Wudao remained impassive, seeing the pride in Lin Miaoyan's eyes. Heh, he thought. Give her an inch, and she'll take a mile. Roar. Sensing his master's displeasure, Jianqi Xuanhuan roared, a deafening blast of sound as it turned towards Lin Miaoyan. The terrifying sonic wave blasted outward, and the dragon might of a saint realm being filled the area. Caught completely off guard, Lin Miaoyan was slammed with the force of a mountain. Ugh! She spat a mouthful of blood and went flying. Everyone was stunned. Nobody had expected that. Had the son of God's mount lost control and blasted Lin Miaoyan? But dragons were prideful. They only let those they fully recognized ride them. How could it disobey Kong Wudao? Had he secretly allowed it? Ding! Lin Miaoyan's Dao heart has been severely damaged, resulting in a loss of 1,000 destiny points. Congratulations! You triggered a double critical hit and gained 2,000 destiny points. Opponent's remaining destiny points, 1,000. Cough, cough. Lin Miaoyan lay on the ground, pale and coughing up blood. Her insides were a mess. She stared at Kong Wudao in disbelief. Why? Why would he do that to her? Wasn't he supposed to be impressed by her beauty? Doubt crept in as Kong Wudao dismounted Tianqi Canglong. He walked through the air, hands clasped behind his back, his expression unreadable. Yet, an undercurrent of tension surged, making the atmosphere thick with anticipation. He was young, but even seasoned emissaries from the ancient factions felt a wave of pressure, beads of cold sweat forming on their foreheads. Sensing the shift, Lin Miaoyan realized she'd messed up. But she was no dummy. Mist welled up in her eyes. Son of God, why would you? Before she could launch into her performance, a wave of terrifying power erupted from Kong Wudao, the aura of the virtual god realm on full display. The pressure was immense, like a mountain crashing down, leaving the emissaries gasping for breath. At the same time, they feared Kong Wudao. Reaching the virtual god realm at his age, he was already surpassing many of the older generation. Ha! I think you misunderstand your position, Kong Wudao said coldly. Did you really think someone like you was worthy of the Son of God? That the messengers reeled. What was that supposed to mean? Lin Miaoyan was a saintess of the reincarnation Dao sect, a disciple of the reincarnation Empress. Her beauty and talent were top tier. She was the dream girl of countless cultivators. How could Kong Wudao dismiss her as trash? With each step Kong Wudao took, the pressure intensified. Lin Miaoyan felt her bones creak under the weight, forcing her to her knees. Lord God, She tried to explain, but the pressure was crushing her, her internal organs screaming. She couldn't speak. As the pain mounted, so did the regret. Kong Wudao had seen through her. Her beauty and physique meant nothing to him. She had miscalculated from the start. Chapter 37. The Empress bows her head and asks the Son of God to show mercy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Kong Wudao now stood before Lin Miaoyan. The crushing pressure pinned Lin Miaoyan down, head bowed. She could feel a godlike gaze staring at her, cold and indifferent, like looking at a corpse. Kong Wudao felt no pity. Under this intense pressure, Lin Miaoyan's internal organs would collapse within seconds, destroying her completely. Kong Wudao watched her frantic struggles, his expression unchanging. The dream goddess of others was nothing more than a dirty ant to him. He hated being threatened most of all, and plots against him were a close second. Not only was she arrogant, but she dared to scheme against him. She had a death wish. Everyone watched in horror, holding their breath, their bodies icy cold, as if plunged into the deepest depths of hell. They watched helplessly as Lin Miaoyan's struggles grew weaker, her energy fading. It was clear, Kong Wudao intended to kill her. The scene shocked everyone. The god son of the time and space restricted area was truly domineering, killing at whim, just as Lin Miaoyan's consciousness began to fade. Her body burst into light, endless light of reincarnation rising and swirling around her. Finally showing yourself? Kong Wudao raised an eyebrow, unsurprised. After all, Lin Miaoyan was the direct disciple of the Empress of Reincarnation. She was bound to carry a fragment of the Empress's soul. His actions were intended to force her hand. That had been his goal from the start. If he miscalculated, it wouldn't matter. He'd simply kill Lin Miaoyan, extract her destiny points, and then confront the Reincarnation Dao sect about it. Either way, the Empress of Reincarnation would fall into his grasp. Then, before The shocked eyes of the crowd, a beautiful woman, tall and ethereal, wreathed in starlight, materialized from the light of reincarnation. It was the Empress of Reincarnation herself. The Empress of Reincarnation bowed respectfully to Kong Wudao, her tone pleading, "Please, spare my foolish disciple." Though only a wisp of her soul, the Emperor's presence she exuded was immense, yet, she dared not directly intervene, to counter Kong Wudao's pressure. Such a move could be seen as an escalation, further inflaming the situation. Besides, they stood at the edge of the time and space restricted area. The moment she arrived, she felt countless terrifying eyes locking onto her. Any action would not only mean her death, but also bring disaster upon the Reincarnation Dao sect. She could only beg Kong Wudao to spare her apprentice for her sake. "Master, save me!" Lin Miaoyan cried out, desperate. One last time, regret flooded her. If she'd known, she never would have been so clever, never would have provoked Kong Wudao. Hearing her apprentice's plea, the Empress of Reincarnation pursed her lips, saying nothing, even turning her head away. She sighed inwardly. This apprentice was truly incorrigible. She'd stressed so much, repeatedly, never to provoke Kong Wudao like this, yet, she'd ignored her warnings, even daring to poke the untouchable, if she hadn't prepared for the worst, leaving a trace of her soul in Lin Miaoyan. Not only would Lin Miaoyan have perished, but the entire Reincarnation Dao sect would have suffered. But now, the deed was done. Even she couldn't interfere, but must await Kong Wudao's decision. Seeing this, Kong Wudao was a little surprised. Lin Miaoyan's master was actually a powerful emperor, a living one. But he wasn't fazed. He examined her panel information. Name, Chu Yunshi, Emperor title, Empress of Reincarnation. Realm, 9th grade Emperor, Hongqian Emperor, Second Life. Identity, Destiny Heroine, Supreme Ancient Ancestor of the Reincarnation Taoist Sect. Physique, Taiyin Reincarnation Divine Body Perfected. Kung Fu, 6 Paths of Reincarnation, Heart Transformation Sutra, Emperor's Sutra of 3 Generations. Treasures, Seal of Reincarnation, Orb of Taichu. Destiny Point. The Empress of Reincarnation's panel information held several points of interest. For example, the second life marker after her realm. As if sensing Kong Wudao's curiosity, the system spoke. Master, upon inspection, the Empress of Reincarnation, Chu Yunshi, is a reborn individual. This life is her second, hence the special designation. Reborn. Kong Wudao was even more surprised. He'd thought the Destiny protagonists were limited to young prodigies, but even a great emperor could be a figure of destiny. So, the reborn Empress of Reincarnation, likely knows her past life, and can even predict future events. As if struck by a new thought, Kong Wudao continued, "But why so many question marks for her destiny point? Can't you determine it, Master? This is but a divine thought of the Empress of Reincarnation, and her destiny point is extremely high. A more accurate prediction requires her true form." Extremely high destiny point. This only piqued Kong Wudao's interest in the Empress of Reincarnation. Not only was she reborn, but her destiny point was extremely high, and she possessed a perfected Taiyin Reincarnation Divine Body. The Taiyin Reincarnation Divine Body was one of the best of the 3,000 Dao bodies. Cultivating such a physique to perfection required immense talent. Those who succeeded were rare indeed. No wonder she could reincarnate. Her perfected Taiyin Reincarnation Divine Body must have played a key role. Moreover, she was a great emperor. At that level, she could probably crush 2 9th-grade emperors without breaking a sweat. The Taiyin Reincarnation Divine Body was said to be an even rarer furnace body than the Yin-Yang Reincarnation Body. Of course, she was a female emperor, and the ancient ancestor of the Reincarnation Dao sect. Even the lowest 9th-grade emperor was not someone anyone could just drag around. It seems, this Empress of Reincarnation is highly valuable to tame. Her cultivation was too high. To hunt her down with his current strength was impossible. He wouldn't trouble the time and space restricted area for something like this. That wouldn't befit a true hunter. After much deliberation, taming her was the better path. Though taming an empress was incredibly difficult, wouldn't it also be incredibly exciting? Chapter 38, Suppress and Kill Lin Miaoyan, the Princess of the Divine Dynasty with a Special Hobby. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Time ticked by. A heavy silence hung in the air. every monk held their breath, watching helplessly as Lin Miaoyan's life ebbed away. Kong Wudao never eased his oppressive aura, his gaze fixed on the Empress of Samsara with a playful smirk. Since she's a reincarnated soul, she's gotta know a thing or two about the future. He figured Lin Miaoyan was probably just a pawn, sent by the Empress to mess with him. Gotta nip this in the bud, or she'll be laughing in my face. Kong Wudao chuckled, shaking his head. I can't stand people who play games, especially when they're plotting against me. With that, he unleashed a devastating kick. A sickening thud echoed as Lin Miaoyan, pinned to the ground, absorbed the full force of the blow. Ribs snapped, and a torrent of blood erupted from her mouth, painting an arc across the void before she slammed into a distant, lifeless star skeleton. Battered and broken, Lin Miaoyan barely clung to consciousness, her chest caved in, clothes soaked crimson, body racked with pain as she coughed up more blood. Fear, raw and overwhelming, consumed her. She never imagined he'd dare to be so brutal, even with her master watching, and what stung even more was that her master just stood there, doing nothing to help. Who did I think I was messing with? He's a freaking demon. Whoa. A collective gasp swept through the onlookers, eyes wide, scalps tingling. Brutal. This guy is cold. Everyone knew Lin Miaoyan was the Empress of Samsara's prized disciple, a figure of immense importance. Yet, even with the divine presence of the Empress here, Kong Wudao dared to inflict such violence. He was a stone-cold killer. Fear gripped them, their gazes fixed on Kong Wudao, now laced with a healthy dose of terror. The prodigy of the Forbidden Zone, he's not someone you can just push around. Kong Wudao turned his attention back to the Empress of Samsara, a smile playing on his lips. But, out of respect for you, I'll just give her a light punishment and spare her life. The Empress of Samsara, jolted from her stupor, bowed her head. Thank you, son of God Wudao. I will discipline this wayward disciple and ensure she apologizes to you in person. The word sent shivers down everyone's spines. The supreme leader of the Samsara Dao sect, a mighty empress, forced to watch her apprentice get pulverized. Not only did she swallow her anger, she acted like she'd been granted a favor, thanking him for his mercy. How terrifying must his power be to inspire such fear? Kong Wudao finally released his pressure. He'd considered killing Lin Miaoyan outright, but she didn't have enough destiny points, and she was the Empress's disciple. Executing her in front of everyone would likely trigger a full-blown war with the Empress, making her impossible to tame. Better to play it with a bit of carrot and stick. Cough, cough, ha. The moment the oppressive force vanished, Lin Miaoyan gasped for air. Her clothes, stained crimson, were torn to shreds, revealing patches of pale skin, but she didn't care about her modesty. Scrambling towards the Empress of Samsara on all fours. That was a trip to hell. If her master hadn't shown up, she'd be dead. Ding! Lin Miaoyan's resolve has been shattered again. 1,000 destiny points deducted. Congratulations. You have gained 1,000 destiny points. Ding! Destiny heroine Xia Chuli is impressed by your methods and harbors a budding admiration. Domestication sequence initiated. Congratulations. You have tamed 10% of Destiny heroine Xia Chuli. 800 destiny points deducted. Congratulations. Triple critical hit. Gained 2,400 destiny points. Xia Chuli's remaining destiny points, 7,200. Kong Wudao raised an eyebrow, intrigued by the system's notifications. An unexpected bonus, that he remembered the system mentioning that taming was another option besides hunting. So, taming means they're surrendering, in a way. His gaze drifted towards Xia Chuli, their eyes met, and she immediately looked away, a nervous flutter in her chest. It wasn't just Kong Wudao's dangerous aura that unnerved her. It was the way he wielded it, the effortless domination. He was like a dragon soaring through the heavens, and any sparrow foolish enough to challenge him would be met with fiery wrath. Kong Wudao's actions weren't just about flexing his power as the prodigy of the Forbidden Zone. He'd sent a clear message to every envoy in attendance. As the eldest princess of the Sun and Moon dynasty, she'd seen her fair share of geniuses, but none compared to Kong Wudao. Most people would be sweating bullets facing a powerful empress. Not Kong Wudao. He'd met her challenge head-on, crushing her disciple like it was no big deal. That raw, unadulterated power was terrifying, yet undeniably alluring. She couldn't help but wonder what kind of legend lay behind such a dangerous individual. Ding. Destiny heroine Xia Chuli is curious about you. Admiration increasing. Congratulations. You have tamed 10% of Destiny heroine Xia Chuli. 800 Destiny points deducted. Congratulations. Double critical hit. Gained 1600 Destiny points. Xia Chuli's remaining Destiny points, 6400. Domestication progress, 20%. Kong Wudao was starting to get confused. He shot a sideways glance at Xia Chuli. Asterisk, could this girl be? Star. Asterisk, does she have some kind of weird crush on me? Asterisk. Chapter 39, treasures are offered one after another, and all parties are invited. You are listening at novelfull.audio. It wasn't just Xia Chuli who felt relieved, the Empress of Samsara also secretly breathed a sigh of relief. She'd been bracing herself for Kong Wudao to disregard her completely and kill Lin Miaoyan right then and there. Having been reborn, she knew Kong Wudao's personality. In his past life, he was known for being domineering and unpredictable. Anyone who crossed him would either be ripped to shreds or killed in the most brutal way imaginable. Simply put, if you messed with him, you were dead. She genuinely hadn't expected him to show mercy and spare her problematic disciple's life. It also served as a wake-up call. Kong Wudao hated those who schemed against him. If you got caught, you were as good as dead. She'd almost forgotten this crucial point, and it almost led to a major blunder. Looks like, trying to get close to Kong Wudao this way is a no-go. That only leaves. If she let her disciples approach Kong Wudao with ulterior motives, it would definitely provoke his anger. The only way to avoid that was to do it herself. After all, sincerity goes a long way. With that in mind, the Empress of Samsara addressed Kong Wudao. What happened today was my Samsara Dao sect's fault. I'll come to apologize in person someday. Please don't hold it against us, Son of God. Now that things had reached this point, her priority was to soothe his feelings and prevent him from becoming alienated or even hostile because of this incident. Ding. The destined heroine, Chu Yunxi, has been detected expressing gratitude towards her master. The system has automatically classified it as a domestication process. Congratulations to the master for taming the destiny heroine Chu Yunxi by 2%. 500 destiny points have been deducted from the opponent. Congratulations to the master for triggering a triple critical hit and gaining 1,500 destiny points. The opponent's remaining destiny points. Kong Wudao raised his eyebrows, surprised by this unexpected gain. It seemed his decision was right. He'd actually tamed her by 2%. It wasn't much, but it was a start. Of course, if taming her proved impossible, he could always find a way to extract her memories directly. Ultimately, he was only interested in Chu Yunxi's memories and nothing else about her. The Son of God, Empress Samsara noticed Kong Wudao's gaze and was puzzled. As a powerful empress, she was naturally experienced and could sense that something was off about the way he looked at her. It was as if he were intensely interested in her. This gaze was an insult to her imperial dignity. If it were anyone else, she would have killed them without hesitation. But knowing Kong Wudao's power and the existence of the restricted zone, she wouldn't dare provoke him. She had no choice but to swallow her pride. If she could avoid offending him, all the better. Hearing this, Kong Wudao smiled and said, "Senior, don't worry. I'll let it slide out of respect for you. I've long admired you and am very interested in the path of reincarnation. I was wondering if you might teach me a thing or two about it in the future." Silence fell over the crowd. Many monks were confused and stared in disbelief. They hadn't expected this turn of events. Not only were the monks stunned, but Empress Samsara herself was also bewildered. Kong Wudao, the godless king of the Dark Ages, was not only letting the matter drop, but he was also asking her to teach him. It was as if he was forgiving the Samsara Dao sect and showing goodwill. There were countless ancestors in the restricted zone, many of whom were experts in the way of reincarnation, some even more powerful than her. As the Son of God, Kong Wudao only had to ask, and the most powerful masters of reincarnation would rush to instruct him. What made her so special? But the Empress of Samsara couldn't let this opportunity to get closer to him pass. She hurriedly said, "If the Son of God wants it, I'll gladly oblige." Ding. The destined heroine, Chu Yunxi, has been detected expressing gratitude towards her master. The system has automatically classified it as a domestication process. Congratulations to the master for taming the destiny heroine Chu Yunxi by 2%. 500 destiny points have been deducted from the opponent. Congratulations to the master for triggering twice the critical hit and gaining 1000 destiny points. The opponent's remaining destiny points. The opponent is 4% tamed. He not only agreed directly, but also made plans to help him. A smile secretly formed on Kong Wudao's lips. He was making it too easy for her. Either she was incredibly naive, or, more likely, she knew about the future, especially about him, and was inexplicably afraid of him. Regardless, things were proceeding according to his plan. He was still just a junior. If he directly asked to meet her real body, she'd likely become suspicious. Moreover, waiting for her to visit him would be giving her the initiative. Taking the initiative himself was safer. By starting with her teaching him about reincarnation, he could not only see her in person but also get closer and have more opportunities to tame her. "Okay, I'll visit you someday," Kong Wudao said with a faint smile. After hearing that Kong Wudao was going to visit the Samsara Dao sect in person, the Empress became even more puzzled. Kong Wudao's identity was no small matter. His visit would indirectly signal the relationship between the restricted zone and other forces in the world. It would only benefit the Samsara Dao sect. She hadn't expected that her attempts to have her apprentice build a relationship with him would lead to a direct interaction between her and Kong Wudao. This made her feel conflicted but also somewhat pleased. Similarly, upon hearing that Kong Wudao would visit the Samsara Dao sect, many envoys showed envious expressions and were visibly agitated. "Son of God. These are gifts from our Dian zone. Please accept them. We were also wondering if you could visit our Dian zone as well. It would bring great honor to our sect. Son of God, this is a gift prepared by my Tianbao pavilion. Please accept it. We hope that the Son of God can also be our guest. Lord Son of God, these are treasures we, Fengyun Tower, have prepared for you. We also invite you to visit our Fengyun Tower." Suddenly, countless envoys offered treasures, trying to entice Kong Wudao to visit their respective sections. After all, Kong Wudao was the Son of God from the restricted zone. The Emperor's sons from the restricted zone held extremely noble status. How terrifying was the power wielded by the Son of God who was superior to even his disciples. Moreover, what made them want to curry favor with him the most was his extraordinary talent. He was the most likely candidate to become the Destiny Emperor in this lifetime. Each era produced only one Destiny Emperor, a legendary being destined to stand at the pinnacle of the imperial path. A young man with such potential was destined for unparalleled achievements. Faced with these offers, Kong Wudao remained uninterested. In his eyes, these treasures were just junk. However, he wasn't about to turn down free stuff. It would be good to feed to the apocalypsed Canglong. Chapter 40, The Daughter of Destiny Who Knows Current Affairs, is Reborn Exposed. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Xia Chuli stepped out from the crowd, holding an exquisitely crafted glazed jade box. She respectfully presented it to Kong Wudao, saying, "My Lord Son of God, knowing you've just awakened and your aura might be adjusting to this world's laws, I've carefully selected this primordial Mother Chi God stone. Please accept it." The star field, previously buzzing with activity, instantly went silent. The primordial Mother Chi God stone. Legend held it was a relic from before the fall of the emperors, incredibly precious, containing a wisp of pure primordial energy. This energy, the source of all things, could manipulate the laws of heaven, communicate with the cosmos, and resonate with the great Tao. It was a divine treasure among divine treasures. Kong Wudao raised an eyebrow, taking the jade box and lifting the primordial Mother Chi God stone. Its surface shimmered with iridescent light, a vibrant halo surrounding it. Even just holding it, he felt refreshed. Not bad, quite thoughtful. Primordial Mother Chi God stones were exceptionally rare. This gift was far more valuable than the cultivation resources others had offered, and it was exactly what he needed. As long as you're pleased, Lord Son of God, Xia Chuli responded with deference. She had faced opposition to retrieve this treasure from the treasury, but considered that Kong Wudao was fresh out of slumber and his body wasn't attuned to the world's laws. The primordial Mother Chi God stone would be a great aid. Lord Son of God, if you would. Would you ever consider visiting our Sun and Moon Divine Dynasty as a guest? That her visit was also at her father's behest, to foster a strong relationship between the Sun and Moon Divine Dynasty and the Time-Space Forbidden Zone. Inviting Kong Wudao to her dynasty would be the best move. Kong Wudao paused, considered, and said, yes. That he wasn't particularly interested in the Sun and Moon Dynasty, but their eldest princess was a woman of destiny. There were destiny points to gain. If he could successfully tame her, he'd gain access to an immortal lineage for free. A worthwhile endeavor. Xia Chuli was stunned, not expecting such an immediate agreement. Recovering, she quickly bowed. Thank you, Son of God Wudao. That she was overjoyed. Honesty was the best policy with someone like Kong Wudao. Unlike Lin Miaoyan's initial approach, which had backfired. Ding! Congratulations, Master, for taming Xia Chuli, a heroine of destiny, by 10%. 800 destiny points have been deducted. Congratulations, Master, for triggering a double critical hit and gaining 1,600 destiny points. Remaining destiny points, 5,600. Taming progress, 30%. Hearing the system's notification, Kong Wudao was surprised. Was this heroine particularly insightful, or did she just have a quirky personality? Compared to the reincarnation Empress, she was remarkably easy to influence, right? Too easy, actually. It was almost discouraging. He had considered simply seizing all her destiny points, but since she was so agreeable, maximizing his gains was the better plan. Seeing Kong Wudao agree to visit the Sun and Moon Divine Dynasty, many envied Xia Chuli, but everyone knew the value of her gift. Their own sects couldn't produce such a treasure, so his acceptance of her invitation made sense. Kong Wudao, uninterested in further conversation with the envoys, dismissed them casually. Then, he mounted the Apocalypse Azure Dragon and returned to the Time-Space Forbidden Zone. After letting that Kijichin run around for so long, it's time for his reunion with his beauty. I should prepare some gifts for him, too. Kong Wudao retrieved a sound transmission jade pendant, saying, Xianyang, bring all the old geezers from Void Dao sect and Chongqing Su family to the Holy Land of Chaos in Beixian Dao domain. They were all family, after all, and should embark on this journey together. Elsewhere, Lin Miaoyan sighed in relief, finally clear of the time-space forbidden zone. Horrible, Kong Wudao was truly terrifying. If her master hadn't intervened, she would have died. Kong Wudao's kick had fractured most of her meridians, and she'd need a long rest to recover. Miaoyan, upon your return to the Reincarnation Dao sect, you will be confined to the Reincarnation Cave for a century, forbidden from leaving the sect, the Reincarnation Empress announced calmly. Lin Miaoyan's expression changed drastically. 100 years of confinement. That was as good as a death sentence. A genius like her could achieve greatness within a single year. In a century, she could become the most powerful being in the universe, perhaps even reaching enlightenment and becoming an emperor. Master, please. Before she could finish, the Empress of Reincarnation unleashed terrifying pressure. Already injured, Lin Miaoyan coughed up blood and collapsed under its force. Do you dare to question my decision? If Kong Wudao hadn't shown mercy, she wouldn't have cared about this matter. Not only would Lin Miaoyan have died, but her Reincarnation Dao sect would have been destroyed. If she let her wander around, offending Kong Wudao again, it would doom the entire sect. She wouldn't tolerate any more missteps, especially involving Kong Wudao. Lin Miaoyan trembled. She had never seen her master so enraged. Her master's tone was even laced with murderous intent. If she dared to object, she would be killed without hesitation. This terrified her, making her even more fearful of Kong Wu Dao. Could it be that Kong Wu Dao was more terrifying than she imagined, so much so that her master cared deeply about his opinion? Yes. Master. Lin Miaoyan dared not argue, and accepted the Empress of Reincarnation's decree. The Empress of Reincarnation withdrew her pressure. Although she doted on her apprentice, her actions had angered her greatly, her arrogance had nearly destroyed herself and the Reincarnation Dao sect. Even if she didn't repent, she wouldn't hesitate to punish her. Without another glance at her apprentice, the Empress of Reincarnation looked towards the time-space forbidden zone. I can't help but feel that Ku Wudao asking me to preach for him is some kind of scheme. She didn't believe he desired her body, but suspected he had ulterior motives. Could it be that he knew about her rebirth? Impossible. That's unbelievable. Even the most ancient and powerful emperors couldn't detect that. Not to mention that Kong Wu Dao is only in the false god realm, not even a great emperor. The Empress of Reincarnation dismissed the thought. She was simply overthinking things.